So you're going to get a balanced flow. Bitterness is a necessity because that's what's going to create that kind of dark chocolatey taste to it. Also creates that texture. But acidity is also a necessity because that's what's going to help balance it. So it's always looking at acidity. When it comes down to puck, whenever you're done pulling your shot, you always have a knock box beside you. And just drop your stuff right there. Always wipe your fork. Any questions on espresso extraction? You good? Excellent. So that is our espresso. So the next one we're going to do next is an Americano. Does everyone know what an Americano is?
Basically.
Espresso with hot water.
Exactly. So the Americano was developed back during World War II when Americans were situated in Italy. A lot of them wanted coffee. There was no coffee. So they added water into the espresso to create a taste similar to coffee. And that's why it's called an Americano. Now there's two ways to do an Americano. This machine has the option to do an Americano. So what it is, it's going to pour an espresso shot. Then you stop right here, drop a hot water to it, to create your so I'll do that right now so you can see how that is.
Then there's a long coffee where you have the espresso but you make it.
You're just pulling it really long. Exactly. You're just wearing it out. Now the thing with that, yes. So the reason why is that when you're pulling your espresso shot and you're pulling it really, really long, the longer you're pulling your shot, the stronger the taste is going to be. You're actually over-extracting your shot. You're actually creating a very unique espresso. So when you do an Americano, you're going to have your shot of espresso and the water going over it, but the maintains that come out, maintains that concentration of flavor. It's not like overly diluting it. Is it diluting it? Yes. But it's not diluting it as extensively as a really, really long allongé espresso shot does. So normally when I tell people if they want a longer shot, I normally recommend either doing an Americano or do a long shot, but then do it a little bit longer. Don't pull it really, 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 because then you'll notice that taste-wise, you'll get a little bit more of that bitterness in the extraction. So if I pull a shot that's going to for too long, that creates a process called over-extraction, where it creates more bitterness. If I pull a shot too short, it's going to get very sour, it's going to create under-extraction. You're going to have that kind of sour, astringent, almost dry aftertaste. So there's kind of like a point of where you want to stop it to get the best experience. So during the extraction process, what you're going to see is that the pressure gauge is not moving because it's doing a pre-infusion. It's adding a little bit of water to start the extraction process, and now it's adding the main amount of water to actually begin the full extraction process. You can see the pressure gauge starting to go a little bit higher. More shot. And now it's going to begin the hot water.
Yeah, so all the accessories are separate. Yeah. And then
is this machine like a plumbed-in machine?
No,
or
water.
Water.
Water tank. Oh, just on the back area.
Okay.
And that is your Americano. So this one has your espresso shot and just a little bit of water on top. This way, yes, you're diluting it, but you're not going to dilute too much, and you're also not going to extract the shot. You're still going to get a little bit, yeah, you're going to maintain the flavor. You're also going to maintain a little bit more of the texture of the crema as well. So that is our Americano. Any questions in regards to that one?
So when you use the Americano feature, it's always the same volume?
It's always the same volume, but you can program these to be at a specific volume just by holding the specific button, and then you can stop it or keep it for as long as you want. So for example, if you want a long single shot, hold the button, it'll start to flash, and then pull your shot, and then as it pulls, you can stop it at any point, and then that'll be the one that's going to be programmed going forward. So every time you press that button, it will produce that one. So you have the ways to customize these volumes to do whatever volume you want to set. Any other questions?
Can you remove the tray on the bottom if you wanted to use the bigger cup?
So you can remove it, but this is where the water sits. So it's going to be, you're going to be putting it into a pile of water.
But if you took the whole tray out,
If you took the whole tray out, you can do it like that and put it in, and then that's fine.
okay.
It will still operate. It's not like the automatic machines where that has a sensor where you can pull it and it's like, don't do that. This one doesn't operate like that. This one you can pull it out and still operate
Okay.
the way you do it. Cool. Now we're going to do so when it comes down to
70%.
That's gonna be good.
so when it comes down to milks, you can use any milk for your milk station, but not all milks seem the same. Whole milk is the better milk to operate with. More fats, creates more texture, has more sugars, and more spirit notes to it. You do with 2%, that's fine as well. 1% is but it's still doable. Skim milk, I'll tell you you're crazy and you're not to do that. So don't use skim milk. If you are using oats, almond, or soy milk, I do recommend using any barista brand. The reason why is that if I just go to a grocery store and grab, let's say, silk oat or almond milk, those versions of those milks aren't designed for high temperatures and steam. So as soon as you start steaming it, it's going to balloon right up. It's going to have a bitter taste to it. The texture is going to be off. If you get, let's say, the barista ones like Pacific or Earth's Oat, or even Silk has the barista versions, those ones are designed to emulsify better, create closer to that kind of texture similar to milk, and mixes with the coffee a lot more better. So if you are using any alternative milks, those are the ones I recommend for you to look at. So in general, whole milk, awesome. 2%, awesome. 1%, yeah. You know, and skim milk, no, don't use it. So today we're going to be using skim milk.
What's the temperature of the water for the Americano when you add water?
So the temperature on this one here will be sitting at around that 89 to 92 degrees temperature of water. The good thing with this guy here is this has a pit system on the inside that maintains that temperature. So every time you pull a shot, you're always going to maintain that consistent temperature. So you won't really see a drop in temperature or pressure that often. It will always be within that same range. So the first thing I'm going to mention is the pitcher. So what makes the pitcher very unique is that it has a temperature gauge on the side right here. So as you're steaming it more and more and more, these guys will start to light up, and then you'll be able to see visually your ideal temperature. So this way you can get exactly the temperature you're looking for. Now the ideal temperature, there's two types of temperatures. There's the barista temperature, which is the temperature I like my coffee milk at, which is usually around 140 to 150. If you want to make it a little bit hotter, 160 is kind of like the best temperature for if you want it on the hotter side. If you go beyond 160, let's say you're going to 180 or higher, you're getting closer to burning the milk. It's going to have a weird kind of aroma and a really strong taste to it. It's not going to pair well with the coffee. So when you're steaming this one here, this kind of helps you gauge exactly where you want to stop to get to the temperature you're looking at. The most common thing I get asked very often when we're in training sessions or anything like that is how do I know how hot the milk is going to be going to stop? This helps with that. So it's a really cool feature. When I saw that feature, I'm like, that is perfect. And it helps people gauge a lot more than trying to figure it out just by touch. Because when you train baristas, it's always based off when it gets to the point where it's too hot to hold, stop steaming it, but then everyone's sensitivity to heat is different. And one person when I was training them, where I'm like, oh, go ahead and steam, start steaming, and the moment it got a little bit hot, like, oh my god, it's too hot, it's not heat. I'm like, the milk is like still cold. You kind of have to hold it a little bit.
Yeah,
So this helps.
buy a thermometer just for that.
Yeah, well, you have to use a thermometer. And sometimes when you're using a thermometer, you have to stop it at a certain point and let the residual heat get to that point. But if you get too close to that point and stop, the residual heat from that milk will actually bring it further. And then you're actually not just sitting at 160, you're actually sitting at 170. So this creates more consistency out of it. So when it comes down to steaming your milk, technique is a big part of it. Like, if I take my milk and put the steam on and start steaming it, you would yes will create foam, but the position of the steam on is incorrect. So either over steam, you're gonna have so much foam that's gonna spill all over the place, or your position of the steam on, let's say, is too close to the side of the pitcher, that you're gonna create the foam you're looking for. The best way to tell if your position is incorrect is if it starts to stream at you. There's a reason to stream at you because it's not in the right position and not going to create enough foam. if I, let's say, too close to the surface and the balloon's up right away, that's just too close to the surface, and you're just going to have a big mess afterwards. So we'll also show you some techniques behind that as well.
No, I have no idea. Where they're all these keep saying that, you know, when it comes time for us, the whole pan should be very good.
So one thing I like to do before I steam, especially if the machine's been off for a little bit, is take a cloth, take a cloth, turn this on, and just let it heat up and steam a little bit, just so I can get any air that's built up in there out. And then afterwards I'll stop and then start my proper steaming process at that point.
And then they did it with the